15 degrees, you can see your breath. Out here in the lake effect, breaking tables like it's poetry. Where else would you rather be? Pinto Ron, Elvis in the lay poncho. The members that you need to know. 'Cause once you out here now, your family. Where else would you rather be? Where else would you rather be?
Welcome into the Nickel City Crew. I am your host, Rob Crippen. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Nickel City Crew. This episode, along with all of our episodes, are presented by Crippen Legacy Entertainment here on Spreaker and StreamYard. We're so glad that you're joining us for some of your Buffalo Bills and NFL content again today. And as always, these are my Bills thoughts said out loud.
It's a vibe so ridiculous. Since 12 plus 83 was 6. The shout rocking like a symphony. Where else would you rather be?
All right, let's get straight to it. Really excited for tonight's episode. Merry Christmas, happy holidays to Nickel City Crew and to Bills Mafia out there. I'm really excited that you guys had a chance to join us tonight. I'm excited because everything is just, it's starting to become a little bit clearer. This is that time of the year. I was text messaging with my co-host earlier pre-show, and he said it's crunch time. And I'm like, you're absolutely right. I love that. It is crunch time. It's time for kind of everybody to separate themselves. The frauds from the reals are about to separate themselves. And I can't wait because I do think that we've got a real team with a real shot. We're getting ready to find out for sure. Joining me tonight, as always, my co-host, Riding Shotgun, Adam Dumptruck Rupsick. Check him out, on Instagram and Twitter at Adam Rupsick, RUPCZYK. Holla at the crew, DT. We're almost to playoff time. We're getting really close, DT.
Nickel City, what's up? What's up, Rob? Happy Friday, week 6. Well, yeah, week 16.
Mm-hmm.
We're going into 16 weeks. This is the last week of the season, a couple years back, and now, we carry on all the way to week 18. So, ready to rock, ready for the holiday season as it's coming up, the last minute shopping this weekend, and this team, man, keeping us honest, crunch time all the way through. Didn't give it to us easy last week, and realistically, in our careers as Bills fans, when have they ever given it to us easy, Rob? Right? So, I guess we got to be used to it, and that's just the way of being a part of the mafia. And the blood pressure is up and down and all over the place, and it was every part of that Sunday. So happy to be back. Friday night, we're feeling good, and crunch time. 3 weeks left. Super Bowl to remember. Let's go.
I love it. Yeah, absolutely. I'm really hoping that it ends that way. It's funny because when you talked about how our career as Bills fans, they never make it easy. That's absolutely the case last week. I saw you guys saw me on Instagram. I posted out that I had, no doubts, and I was cooking up a shout out to Paulette. I was cooking up those lobster tails and getting everything ready to go. But I would be lying if I tell you that I wasn't really nervous. I was really nervous about that result of that game last week, DT. It was funny because you looked at it and, down 21-0 first half. Right before the half, the Bills scored to make it 24-7. But before that, 21-0, Drake made 2 touchdowns. It was really looking like we were in a situation where we were about to be really disappointed. And that was the one outcome that I was not prepared for. I was not going to be prepared to be blown out. I thought that the Bills stood a good chance to win. We both picked them to win that game. But when the way that the first half went, DT, I would be lying to you to tell you that I wasn't extremely nervous about our prospects going into the second half because it just didn't look good, man. The Bills were kind of sleepwalking on offense. The defense couldn't stop Stevenson. He was running everywhere he wanted to. Drake May was doing his best Josh Allen impersonation. And I stayed off Twitter because I knew that was going to be a toxic place for me. DT, Bills found a way to the second half. It seems like I had to give a shout out to McDermott. It seems like this second half defense, they made another adjustment. And I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know why they have to go down. I don't know what the reason is, but McDermott seems to find the magic touch for the second half.
Yeah, and the people say, you can't get used to that. You're not going to be able to do that in the playoffs, all these things. But we're going on a month of this happening here, coming in the Steelers and then the Bengals and then the Patriots. Really kind of all three games, not as bad of a deficit as we saw last Sunday. But, the Bengals was 14 quick, and the Steelers, we didn't have a point in the first half. So it's an interesting concept they're going with. I don't understand it. I think we're talented enough to figure out why do we have to do this? But I don't think, necessarily play bad on Sunday coming out of the gate. You just weren't executing, and the Patriots executed everything. I mean, our defense didn't stop anything, and that was definitely a problem. And you hate to kind of see the defense be able to get cut up like that, because, it kind of shows other teams that there are weaknesses and there are ways to cut this defense up. And we've seen it a few times. I mean, the Monday night game against the Falcons, similar type of style. It started off, we just got down early and, kind of made a little comeback, but just wasn't enough time and ended up, losing. So it's not always a comeback. We've proven that we can't do it every time, but the past 3 weeks and some clutch games, 3 AFC good opponents, playoff teams other than, if Joe Burrow's in all year, that's 3 playoff teams you beat, with comeback victories, and 2 of those being on the road, right? So it's credit to the team, and to be able to, we see adversity, we'll face adversity, nothing, we're never out of it, we're never scared, going all the way back to week 1, coming back against the Ravens and Josh Allen getting in our ass about leaving the stadium early. Like, yeah, you got to believe in these guys that it is never over, and you can say that, but I would caution people we can't get confident in this. We still got to get back to a full game and be dominant, and if we want to win a Super Bowl, we're not going to be able to get cut up like that. I just don't think we play that bad. It's just the Patriots executed on everything. The Patriots executed on everything. The score is bad, and it's not like we were turning the ball over and giving them short fields and they were scoring. It was just the kind of the flow of the game, and that's how quick it goes. We've been up on teams 21-0 in similar situations, and I remember a couple years back. It really doesn't relate at all, but just to kind of give an example, a couple years back in the COVID year, against the Rams at home, came out and got up. I think it was like 28-7 or something, that week 3 game, and was dominating, and then all of a sudden the Rams were back, and we had to have like a last second touchdown to to Lee Smith to win the game, like late. And
yeah, you're right.
It happens. We saw, look at last night, the Seahawks and Rams game. Rams are up 14 with like 5 minutes left in the game.
16 in the fourth quarter.
16, and goes into overtime to get it done. The Bills, we were down with 8 minutes left in the game to the Bengals before the back-to-back them picks. So I like the fact that, we're used to this now, and we can face adversity and know it's never over, and the team's always fighting. I like that aspect, but they know, like, this isn't the way they want to play. They want to put 4 quarters together, and so I think that's going to be the challenge this week, and going into the playoffs is going to be putting those 4 quarters and setting the dominance, as opposed to having to be dominant because you're so far behind. Like, setting the dominance so you don't have to worry about it, as opposed to coming back. But it shows a lot about this team. It shows a lot about 17. 17 being able to do shit like this. There's not really any, there's not quarterbacks in this league that can do that. 21 points in the NFL is huge. And for him to be able to lock in and get 5 straight scoring drives and really not miss. His one miss was a throwaway. His other miss was, a deep ball to Brandon Cooks that was just kind of whatever, and everything else was on the money. They attacked the middle of the field and really, really found their way with that. The running game got back. So it's weird. I don't like it. I'd rather it be different, but you got to take the positives of this and what it's doing to this team and the resilience it's building, that really any adversity we'd face, this team's ready to counteract it.
Yeah, you're definitely looking at it more, glass half full and more rosy, because I was worried about the fact that, in the playoffs, there's just the margin for error is just that much slimmer. So you don't have the opportunity maybe to come back in a game like that. Now, obviously, the Bills, they had the momentum. They got a chance to double dip, like I talked about. They went down 24-7 before the half with the James Cook touchdown, 21-7. The Patriots got a late field goal to go up 24-7, and then right back at you. You got a touchdown after half with Dawson Knox from Josh Allen, and then after that, you get that stop. And I think that's one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about, DT, was, I've been I've been impressed, and I even put it out on Twitter, a place that I'm notoriously known as a Sean McDermott hater. I put it out there that I think that this is the best job that Sean McDermott has done with this defense throughout his tenure. You think about the injuries, which we always lament and we always talk about as an excuse sometimes for him, and kind of his get out of jail free card when it comes time for the postseason press conference, and we're losing to the Chiefs or we're losing to the Bengals. You find a way to kind of give him a little bit of credit when I don't want to really give it to him. DT, he deserves credit. McDermott has found a way to be very, very successful with these second half adjustments. Now, I'm not exactly sure what it is because sometimes, people like Peyton Manning poo-poo the second half adjustments. They talk about how, they're just in there to go, to the bathroom and get a banana, get a sandwich, and then they're right back out there. There's not that much halftime adjustments done. There clearly is something that's being done in that locker room between Bobby Babich and Sean McDermott for that defense because they come out looking totally different, DT. I think if it wasn't so stark, if it wasn't so Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde with these type of performances, you might be able to wash it away. DT, they are changing something when it comes to those halftime adjustments because the team comes out and they're just playing. The defense specifically is playing so much better, so much cleaner. And last week was the same way against New England up there in Foxborough.
Yeah, what do you think it is, Rob and Nickel City Crew? Like, is it X's and O's, or is it like, hey, back against the wall, you're getting your ass kicked out there, let's find it and go out and get it? Is it more like morale, or is it X's and O's stuff? I think like if it is X's and O's stuff, yeah, he deserves all the credit in the world, for being able to manipulate it and move it around. I need to see what you're giving me, and then I have the ability to go back out there and shut everything down in all versions of it, every which way. So credit if it is that. If it is just coming in and snapping a clipboard and getting his people's ass, like, we're better than this, you're getting embarrassed out there, fires us up and goes out and get the win. Like, either way it works, but like the more credit would come for a scheme fit, right? The Steelers game a few weeks ago, they said when they hit Josh, that's kind of when the team started getting going. Second half, it forced the turnovers and kind of a disguised look to like, yes, they were lucky, but Christian Benford being in the slot, he's a corner, and like just to get that pick six, like, and put him in that spot, that was all part of the scheme, right? So it looked like that on Sunday where the Patriots could do anything they wanted, and then they weren't able to do anything, and
Anything,
they got
nothing.
some pressure. They got their hands on 10, Boza with the tip, the receivers weren't getting open, and it just seems like that they do adjust schematically, and the credit's got to go to Sean McDermott for that. But like, what are you doing all week then? Like, what's the game plan? Like, if you can make all these adjustments in live and then go in for 10 minutes and fix it, how can you not game plan for it? And I guess that would be my critique, and my way to be critical on this is, if you're so good, right, at this, and you can catch it all live and you can see something, why can't all week of film? Because it's not the first time the Patriots were doing this stuff, during the year, and we just couldn't stop it. And then all I need to do is see it and go out and stop it. So it's probably a little mix of both the scheme and getting in people's asses. But you got to give credit to McDermott on this, because if there wasn't adjustments, that's a 40-9 game any way you look at it.
Yeah, and some thoughts from our listener Seth, says that the blitz percentage was way up. Zach's wondering if Babich is calling the plays in first half and then McDermott second half. I'm not so sure about that. You asked, I really can't put my finger on it. I just know that it's so stark, and I wrote down some examples. DT, I mean, Atlanta. We think about that game. Drake London getting everything that he wanted. Obviously, Bijan Robinson going crazy with the running game in the first half. Second half, they clamp it down. They shut it down. It's over. Tampa Bay, same thing. Baker Mayfield not able to do anything in that second half. I don't even think that in Jigba or who's the guy? Mbuka, he wasn't even really a factor in the second half. The Houston game, DT, quiet is kept. That game, you talked about it. We lost by, Gabe Davis's foot. That game, nothing in the second half for Dave. Now, I know that they had a backup quarterback in Davis Mills, so you want to take that into account. But the Houston game, nothing. Same thing with Cincinnati game. And then obviously last week with New England, Drake May not able to do anything. They weren't even able to gain any traction. I think they said something crazy, DT, like 17 yards or something like that in the second half for the Patriots. So I don't know exactly what it is. I just know that I would love for it to start from the first half. But if that's the case, and some of our listeners like Seth is saying that he needs that first half, like you were saying, he needs that first half to see it. Fine, maybe not give up 21, 24 points, whatever the case may be, 20, find a way to limit some of that stuff. But I mean, the recipe is working for whatever reason. Now, does that give me hope? It really doesn't give me hope for the playoffs, to be honest with you. I heard this morning on WGR, Jeremy's talking, and he said the defense is kind of sneaky good. I don't know necessarily if I agree with that. I don't think they're sneaky good. I just think that they're timely. And we talked about that last week when we broke down the Cincinnati game. They're timely. They come up with stops when they need them the most. And I think that is the hallmark of at least an opportunistic defense, a defense that is at least on time. If you're late, you're late, but at least you show up, that type of thing. And I think that could be one of the ways to characterize this 25 defenses. I think that they are timely. They make stops when you need them to. And I think that there's a value in that, DT. There's definitely a value in
there.
That.
There definitely is credit to that, and it's good for, it kind of shows the make and moxie of this side, right? There's a lot of veterans, and then there's a lot of young guys, right? There's really not a lot of middle guys, right? The one middle guy might be Terrell Bernard, and he's not even in the game. Like you're looking at a lot of guys that have been around a long time, and a lot of guys brand new, and Cole Bishop and Harrison, and and so the mix of those things is kind of makes the timely stops, the timely plays on defense. It's been consistent all year. I mean, even the games they were getting beat on, like that Falcons game and the Patriots game, like the defense made a few stops, and it kind of came down to the offense not being able to get it going. Dolphins, they had some late touchdowns. They couldn't stop A-Chain, when they really needed to. But
right.
Yeah, we talked all last year. You can't bank on turnovers. The ball's oblong, all this shit about you can't bank on it. But we were getting one every game, so it was just part of the game. Like, you can kind of bank on it. In this case, I think we're getting a little more in some sketchy territory here. Like, I would rather bank on a turnover every week than bank on a second half adjustment and shutting people down. Like, I think it's a lot easier, the latter or the first as opposed to the latter when it comes to that. But I guess the veteran leadership, knowing, they might be gassed and not be able to go with you every play, but they know the plays they need to make. They need to make the stops and go with you, and they seem to be up for that bell. So, man, stressful, but we got it. Credit to this D. It's exciting, and it gives this defense juice, and it gives this defense confidence. And defense is a lot about the intensity of it. You got to come through us. Like, you got to get through our pads, and making those timely stops like increases that intensity. They're talking about Joey Bosa. He never one of the most quiet guys in the league. Even when he was dominant in his Chargers days, was still kind of chill. Every week, this dude's on the sideline going crazy. After play, right?
Yeah.
So there's something to be said about the intensity, and I think the culture. We sometimes are hard on is true. Like, the culture in this building is a Super Bowl contender. The culture in this building is a Lombardi, and they know they're not perfect. They know they've made mistakes. They know they've been sloppy in situations through the year, but I think that it's all one goal, and everybody being on the same page creates things like this. That timely stop has to happen with everybody on the same page. It doesn't happen by chance. So it's not ideal, but it's also not by chance. I think their MO is we're on the same page. We need a Super Bowl. We know we have to be perfect to get there. So we are coming up with a timely stop.
Yeah, and Zach, brings up a good point on Facebook. He's, shout out to our listeners. They're on all different platforms. So shout out to Noah out there on Instagram. But Zach says he doesn't think we could spot a team like Denver 21 points. And I would tend to agree. I think that what made me so nervous last week was the opponent. That's what made me so nervous last week was the opponent and the fact that they had beat us before in our house. I really didn't want to lose that game. The whole Steph Diggs dynamic, yada, yada, yada. The playoffs brings its own separate level of anxiety, because if you don't bring it that day, your season is done and it's over. So I think that there's a level of anxiety that kind of ratchets up. So I definitely agree with Zach. I don't think you can spot a team 21 points and let them get up on you in the playoffs, because I just think that you're flirting with fire. But again, for whatever reason, this McDermott defense has found a way to come up with some answers when they needed them most. Last week, second half, that looked like in a completely different game. The Bills dominate from there on out, including the defense. Really nothing for the Patriots to get. Again, I think I heard a stat that they had it was very minimal. It was not many yards out there for them in the second half, and the Bills run away 35-31. Josh Allen was exquisite, 3 touchdowns, 2 to James Cook on the ground, another to James Cook through the air. Jimbo, DT, our weekly Jimbo appreciation segment. I mean, the man he's amazing, man. And it's funny because I heard a lot of pushback from some fans from out of the Bills Mafia talking about how, oh, you guys always talk about it's just Josh. But what about Cook? We have always given him his flowers here at Nickel City Crew, DT. He's amazing. He's going to need to be at the focal point of whatever they decide to do on offense. Whatever Joe Brady wants to do on offense come playoff time, he's going to be right at the center of it. 4 is going to be important.
Yeah, and that's been a thing, and that's kind of one of those situations where we don't have to hide shit on this. Like, it's coming, and we're going to be better than you and get the yards. Didn't fumble this week, coming off really 2 fumbles the week before, and is his fumble problem back? Because he fumbled in Pittsburgh too. Mm-hmm. And being able to still tote the pill, still be strong, and not fumble in that day. I mean, a fumble Sunday might have been it, right? That might have been that might have been like the nail in the coffin of coming back into that game. So credit to that. It is the MO of the offense. I mean, yes, Josh Allen is the reason we score 5 touchdowns in a row, because he's just diabolical and not missing throws, and you're never dead on 3rd down or whatever it is. But this James Cook addition has been so critical to that success, being able for a defense to kind of be on their heels so Josh Allen can come at him. And, credit to it, getting way more touches than he was last year. Just answering the bell at all costs. Keep that fumble problem down. Dynamic, he has the knack for the end zone. When he's close, he gets in. And what's he got now? 12?
Yeah. And he's only like 23 yards or something like that from Jonathan Taylor for the league lead for yards.
For the rushing title. And I mean, just Sunday, cold one, and wind coming off the lake in Lake Erie against Cleveland Browns, a crazy pass rusher, Myles Garrett. I think you're going to see a very similar game to what we saw in Pittsburgh, with kind of just chipping out the outside and running that ball 30 times. So he's going to have a good chance to take that rushing lead and do even more on Sunday. We want to, generally, he's been extremely healthy in his career. We want to keep that up, especially towards the end of the year with cold and soft tissue. And, we don't need him to tote the pill 30 times in this Cleveland game if we don't need him to, right? Like, get up, get this win, and we don't need that tote all the day. We don't need him to tote against the Eagles all that time. Hopefully, we're all sitting in Week 18 as well. So, kind of ease out. I want him to get the records. Sure, he deserves it. He deserves the rushing title. He deserves as many touchdowns as he can get. I'm in fantasy playoffs with him, and I need him to I need him in a few leagues. So go after it. But you've earned the respect now to kind of just chill out and hopefully do your thing the next couple of weeks. But we're not we don't have to rely on it as much, but we are going to have to rely on it come January.
Yeah, I guess we will, because I think that he's integral to what the Bills do on offense. And again, whatever Joe Brady is doing, I heard some more stuff again about Joe Brady's saving stuff for the playoffs. I really hope that shit is true, because I have been on his ass all season long. And, I just don't know if he's got some type of super secret playbook waiting in the wings. Maybe he does, and he'll surprise us all, but it'll be interesting to see. Now, as we transition, shout out to our buddies over there at I-86 Network. Listen, I-86 After Dark, we really appreciate my boy Tom Wujek from back home at Starpoint, Bobby Hansen. They're running a great site over there. Listen, check out I-86 Network. Listen, I-86 After Dark, they are running a cool network. They've got tons of Sabres content. I think the Sabres DT have won 4 straight. They finally fired Kevin Adams, so maybe some things are starting to change down there at the arena. We'll see what's going on. Swords up, I guess is maybe what you say. I don't know what you say for the Sabres, but good luck to the Sabres. But listen, check out I-86 Network, I-86 After Dark. They've got a lot of cool content, a lot of Sabres talk. They've even got wrestling talk and stuff like that. I guess John Cena went out with his final match and he lost it, and people were all mad. Like, how do you make him lose his last match? I was like, I don't know. Maybe it's just good writing. I don't know, but maybe he's doing a second comeback. It's wrestling for all you know. So who knows? But listen, check out our buddies at I-86 Network. We really do appreciate them. We've been simulcasting with them for a couple months now, DT, and we've got some positive feedback. So we really appreciate their partnership with Nickel City Crew. Now, DT, as we transition, I named the episode the way that I did because I expect a victory on Sunday. I expect it to be in resounding fashion. However, I know that weird shit happens. So I avoid disaster, DT. Avoid any major fuck-ups. How about that? Can I see Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns beating the Buffalo Bills? No, I cannot. Can I see the defense just letting him, rip them up and down the field? No, I cannot. I have seen weirder stuff happen. The Urban Meyer game, whatever the case may be. Weird games have happened between Buffalo and Cleveland. We've seen that. You and I have witnessed some of that throughout our fandom, especially through the drought. Nothing weird this weekend. Take care of business. Find a way to lock up this game. And hopefully you lock it up early where you dishearten them, where they don't really have much to play for besides Myles Garrett trying to get that sack record, and you can get out of town, head back up to 90, and get home nice, safe, and sound before the holiday week. DT, don't fuck around with these guys not because they're better than you or that they can legitimately beat you, but because I don't even want one of those bang up injuries at the last second, of the season where it's affecting you in the playoffs. Find a way to take care of business and get those guys out of there as quickly as possible. No, what is it? Bobby watches Stranger Things, my oldest king. No Stranger Things, no weird shit this weekend up the 90 in Lake Erie against Cleveland. Nothing weird.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part this year, they've been able to handle inferior teams. Obviously, what we witnessed down in Charlotte, and
not Miami, a game that we really needed.
Well, yeah, but Miami coming in. But Miami coming in still going to finish 500 this year.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. But this is one that the Saints, they kind of took late, but they were in control of that Saints game really the whole time, and just kind of had to finish it up at the end. The only thing is the Myles Garrett sack. They have literally nothing else to play for. I don't even know if they're game planning this week. It's just Myles Garrett sack. I think that's the whole tone of the entire building, the entire organization. There's nothing, they got to get ready for Josh Allen and the boys coming in who are, need to get right for the playoffs. And they know last Sunday was a great win, but it wasn't acceptable. So I think the tone this week in the building is definitely like, get back. We need to be peaking at the right point. This is a great week to kind of, be comfortable, show our stuff, practice, if you will, a nice, get in and get out. I hope Myles Garrett gets a sack to Mitch Trubisky in the fourth quarter, right? That's the most ideal situation. Get Mitch Trubisky in there and let him get sacked 8 times. I don't care, whatever. But as long as he's in there and it's not on him. And I think, again, we're going to see a very similar game to that Pittsburgh game with the tackles being out. And the tackles are back, so that helps. But Myles Garrett basically means your tackles are out. He's a good enough player where it doesn't matter who you got there. He's a free rusher. So get the ball away from him, control the line of scrimmage, all the cliches, get the run game going, yada, yada, yada. I think McDermott does pretty well against young quarterbacks for the most part in giving them shit and giving them different looks. We've seen a little more McDermott this year of disguising a lot of stuff and using his, if the pass rush isn't there, he's using pass rush in other ways and disguising coverages and getting people into some trouble that way. So I think obviously that's going to be the game plan, trying to trick Shedeur Sanders into some stuff and get a few turnovers and slow that game right down. Obviously a little worried about Myles Garrett. You don't want him. I don't care about the record or any of that. I just don't want his hands on 17, right? Like that's the last guy in the world you want touching your most precious cargo. Like he's the, so that's where I'm at. No major injuries. Things happen. Going to be a cold game, 1:00. It be as routine as possible. But I think the Bills' game plan is get right. We're a Super Bowl contender. Let's go and do this. The Browns' game plan is, hey, let's go out there. Hopefully Myles Garrett gets a sack. So I think that change it, that philosophy difference, you're going to see it on the scoreboard in the term of, 20, 30 points.
Yeah, I mean it'll be interesting. When you look at the Browns, it's funny because the running joke on Twitter is that Kevin Stefanski has it out for Shedeur Sanders. He's trying to sabotage him, stuff like that. And I don't necessarily buy into all of that type of stuff because his job is kind of on the line as well. But there have
Is
been
that
some
the
weird,
conspiracy about the Dion
yeah.
throwing water on his father-in-law or some shit?
But I don't think. But I couldn't. I saw that the other day. And I could not confirm that that's his daughter-in-law or that's his, his daughter, McCarver's daughter. I couldn't confirm that, so I don't know about that. From what I saw on Wikipedia, there's nobody named Michelle that's named the daughter. So like, I don't know if that's true or not. But I did see that same thing. But it's when you watch a team like Cleveland, DT, and you watch some of the dysfunction, it reminds you of where we've come from. You know what I mean? And so that's why I understand where Bills Mafia talks about, well, be grateful and stuff like that. And I get it. And before we get into, a topic that I wanted to get into with you specifically about this playoffs, DT, it's funny when you watch other organizations that are dysfunctional, DT, because it kind of reminds you that, man, we have come a long way. We used to be that type of team. We used to have those types of conversations. We're no longer having them anymore, DT. And I for one, this Christmas season, coming off the Thanksgiving season, I'm thankful for that. I am grateful to not be one of those dysfunctional franchises anymore, because you watch it and sometimes all you can do is shake your head, because you're absolutely right. I saw the Tim McCarver stuff. I saw all this weird stuff about this team this week, and I'm just really happy that we're not a part of that anymore. That's not in our DNA.
Yeah, I mean, you've gotten shit for, when you're being critical and people come at you and say like, well,
Yes.
would you rather not be in the drought? Like, of course, of course I would rather this, but it's okay to increase our standards. And yeah, that shows that there's just realistically, they had a great draft. All their players are skill players, and they're decent. Isaiah Bond's looking okay, and Fannin, the tight end, is looking like he's going to be a future star. And they're getting guys that might make plays, but overall, yeah, it's dysfunctional. And it's nice, to see that. And we can be super critical, and we're in the Super Bowl window. We got to do everything we can, but there's teams out there year in and year out. I mean, the Jets have been doing this for forever, literally, like purposely. Everybody. There's so many teams there's more teams that are a mess than teams that have it together, right? In the league, like way more, and not like
That's true.
completely only winning 4 games, but like look at the
That's true.
Dolphins this year, right? Like look at look at even the Buccaneers. They're like going to win their division at 500, and it's like so. And then you look at the top tier teams in the league, there's very few that operate, like us. And so you got to be grateful for that. And yeah, it's nice to see that it's not us. And we're not the joke going into this game.
Yeah, it is funny, and Sheed's messing with you because you see Sheed right there, DT. You were right. You had the optimistic approach a couple of weeks ago when we had him on, and Sheed was pretty much doom and gloom, and I felt like I was a positive guy for once in respects to I'm always called the pessimist of the group. But listen, it's funny. Shout out to Sheed. We really love you, man. We appreciate your support. It's funny because DT, I wanted to get into something that I think has come up before we transition. I mean, so nothing crazy Sunday. We expect, everything to just go as planned. We're not going to fall down 17-0 to this garbage team. Don't give them any light. Don't give them any hope. Find a way to get in Shedeur's face, stay in his face. And as long as you do that, you find a way to be successful. Correct? I mean, we're on the same wavelength there. Okay. All right. We're good there. Well, DT, something has come up that I heard a lot about, and I've been hearing more about it, and it's been from the outside. So it's outside of the walls of Bills Mafia, and I've been hearing it, and I've had conflicting feelings about it, and I just got it the other day when I went to the barbershop as well, and they were talking shit to me or whatever, and they were like, listen, Josh got to do it, right? This is right after Patrick Mahomes ACL, and they're like, Josh got to do it, right? Burrow out, Josh got to do it, and and I agree. Lamar Jackson doesn't look right. There looks to be something wrong with him. I don't know if he's hurt and he's trying to cover it up or what, but there seems to be something wrong with Lamar. DT, before we wrap up tonight, what's your view of the narrative now that the Bills need to represent the conference and get into the Super Bowl, which we hold them to that standard over here at Nickel City Crew, but it's starting to become more of a groundswell of opinion that the Bills need to get it done and get to the Super Bowl because of the fact that all of these different quarterbacks are going to be missing from the postseason, and they won't be in the tournament. Because of that, this has got to be Josh Allen's year or it's a failure. Again, here at the Crew, we always say any season that is not ending in at least a Super Bowl appearance is a failure. But I think that there's a new groundswell of support for a lot of people that are outside of the walls of Bills Mafia that are starting to say it. The chorus is getting louder, DT, that this is a major, major misstep. This is a major, major opportunity blown if you don't get to the Super Bowl. How do you feel about that? Because I'm hearing it almost everywhere now. I think Jim Rome said it this week. There's a bunch of guys saying it.
I think it's a little hypocritical, right? I mean, I think it's a failure if we don't get to a Super Bowl anyway, right? That we can agree on that with Josh Allen at our quarterback, we should be there. But it's hypocritical. Why are we punished now because we're the only ones still in the race? Even with an up and down season, we're the only ones still in the race. Why are we going to be punished? Because these dudes couldn't make it. We're an inch away multiple different times with all these dudes in the tournament. We're an inch away 13 seconds last year, an inch away with all these guys in the tournament. We're right there and could have had Super Bowls in all those years and had capabilities all those years. So it wasn't like we were incapable. We didn't do it. And there's, there's things that happen because of that. But why are we now, taking heat from because everybody else couldn't? We're the only ones left. And now if we don't do it, we're the failures. Like that, these boys aren't even in the playoffs. What is, isn't that a failure? Wouldn't that be more at least in the walls of Buffalo if we didn't make the playoffs this year? Like, wouldn't that be worse than not going to the Super Bowl without all these dudes in the playoffs? Right. And that's kind of how I see it. It would be way worse to not make the playoffs than be in the playoffs without all these dudes and not get there. It'd be way worse to not be in the playoffs. So, yes, it's our easiest path. I like that that's the case. I like that there's so many questions with this team that we can go into a postseason tournament with not those dudes in it. I like that. It definitely is our best chance. But, I'm not here to get on us because – those guys are out, so if we don't do it, we stink. They didn't make the playoffs. If we didn't make the playoffs, that would be way worse. If we didn't make the playoffs, that would be way worse than us not doing it this year without all those guys in it.
It's interesting because I've gone back and forth on it. Here's where I stand on the DT is that I understand what you're saying. In premise, I understand that we're being almost punished because of the fact that these other teams couldn't hack it, but we're the last one standing. So you better get it done. You better get it done. You better get it done. I understand that. However, you kind of better get it done. Like I feel like at the same time, I'm struggling with that because, and here's why I say that. It's not only just Mahomes and Burrow and Jackson, but a large part of it is also because of the fact that, we talked about the roads. What was one of the biggest reasons why 13 seconds frustrated me so much. 13 seconds frustrated me because in my mind, I thought that was our greatest chance up to this point. I thought that was an opportunity where you go and you host Cincinnati. Now we don't know what Cincinnati is going to be the following year and stuff like that. And obviously there was a bunch of people that say we weren't even going to beat the Rams because they had Aaron Donald and this and that, and they had Von Miller at that. Who knows? All I know is that I thought it was going to be a great opportunity because of the fact that you had just proved to one of the best teams in the league, a Super Bowl champion, that you could hang. And not only could you hang, but you were better than them on that day. And then you squandered it and you pissed on your legs. So that was one of the reasons why I was so frustrated about that performance, was because of the fact that I was mad at McD because I thought that was a great opportunity to go represent the conference. This year, I still feel the same way. I feel like this is a great opportunity to go represent the conference. I think that it's a situation where, what is standing in your way? And when you look at the quarterbacks that you are facing up against, it's not really the quarterbacks. It's the defenses that could get on your nerves. It's the Denver Broncos and their defense. It's the Houston Texans and their defense. Those are the type of opposition where you're worried about getting over that hill. But DT, when it comes to the quarterbacks and some of the offenses you're facing, I do feel like this is a great opportunity for you to make the Super Bowl. So because of that, I think that there is a little bit added pressure. I literally got a text message from my buddy in KC. Shout out to John Eisbert. And he was like, what are they saying in Buffalo about Mahomes being out? He's a Kansas City fan. He's like, Mahomes being out, and Burrow and Jackson may not making it. What are they saying about it? I'm like, is there more pressure? And I'm like, I don't know if there's more pressure, but I think that there's pressure that they may not want to talk about. And does that make sense, DT? Like, I think that there's something internally, whether it be something that it's said out loud or behind closed doors, that is like, man, like we got a shot this year, DT. Like, we got to make this shit happen. Like, we got to get this shit done. We got a shot. I think that the players understand what's going on in respects to the competition around the AFC, and I don't know if that puts more pressure on them or not, but I think that this is a situation where you kind of have to get it done. I understand where you're coming from, but it's like, what is standing in your way? You kind of got to get this thing done.
That's fair, but you're also saying in that you're giving up on the future as well. Like, because you're worried about this if they don't do it, and then they go into next year and all those boys are back in the playoffs, and then we get knocked out in the playoffs, and it was like, man, last year they were all out of it. That was their shot.
Yes, I would be one of those. I would be one of those.
We're getting ahead and basically saying we're giving up on the future, like, because we're pre-planning this excuse, like, oh, we had it. Like, last year nobody was in it. That was our chance, you know. So I'm not on that wavelength. I'm not thinking like that, right? Like, there's no asterisks or anything. Like, yes, I love it. I love that. I'm not going to be, have to worry about the boogeyman, in the divisional round or whatever. Like, I love that aspect, but I just don't think it's anything different than the other years. Like, it doesn't mean anything different. It's like you do it or you don't. It doesn't really matter who's in the tournament or not. It's more you, and kind of being worried about it right now is saying you're giving up on the future, because this will be the excuse when we get knocked out in the future. Oh, well, last year was our best chance. We should have done it. 13 seconds was our best chance. We should have done it. Like, it is obviously the easiest, and they know that, and okay. I love that.
Can we at least agree on that this path is a
and I love
easier.
that, but like, I'm not pre-planning, like, oh, if we don't do it now, this is going to be my excuse next year. We should have done it last year. Now we can't get through these guys anymore. Like, because we were in it with those guys. We're an inch away with those guys in it. Like, we proved we could be there. We proved we couldn't get there, but we proved we could be there. And
that's true.
And so that's kind of how I look at it. Like, I'm not going to make an excuse now for a future failure. I'm like premeditating.
I'm not trying to premeditate an excuse. I'm looking at the landscape. And I think that the landscape shows that with a playoff postseason tournament without Mahomes, without Burrow, without maybe Lamar Jackson, in whatever state he's in, is still a better opportunity than going up against all those different heavyweights. It's like, the Mike Tyson's punch out. I'm not facing. I got to face a bunch of glass Joes as opposed to facing Mike Tyson every single round. And I understand that they're not all Mike Tysons, but those defenses are real. So I give credit to the defenses. I give credit to Denver and to Houston. I just think that, like, I don't think that, like, the Houston game, I don't think plays out the same exact way. You know what I mean? Like, unless it's just some type of brain fart and they have the same type of dumbass, blocking mentality, and they want to block up Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter one-on-one again for whatever reason they would do that dumbass decision. I don't think that game's coming out the same way. Denver, kind of the same thing. We've seen Denver. We've seen him in the postseason. We know Bo Nix. We know, he was younger, but he hasn't gotten that much better this year. Like, he's still kind of the same Bo Nix. I just look at the surroundings, and I look at the path to Santa Clara, and I just say, man, I don't necessarily agree with all the outside media that it's a failure if we don't get it because of that, but I do think that it is another wasted opportunity because of the fact that, your path to Santa Clara is not as daunting. I just can't sit here with a straight face and say that it's as daunting as it would be with Mahomes. And I'm not trying to come up with an excuse ahead of time. It's just the fact of the competition.
That's fair. But to the masses, like, you can't be hypocritical and blame us because those guys are out. Like, it'd be worse being out than losing and being in.
Oh no, I agree. And then and Seth brings up a good point that I thought about as well, was that, and that's how I responded to my Kansas City buddy. He was like, well, what's the pressure? Is it internal? How are you guys feeling? I said, this is also the shittiest defense that McDermott has had. And I put that out on Twitter a couple of days ago, earlier this week, that's why I gave him his flowers on Twitter, was that this is the shittiest defense he has fielded since his Bills tenure has begun. That has to go for something. I'm not trying to give him an excuse before he gets blown out in the playoffs. I'm just telling you, facts are the facts. This is the garbagest defense he has had since he's been the head coach. And I think that's got to matter, right, DT? A little bit.
Yeah, no, and we showed, like, that's why we were giving him praise earlier in the show of the adjustments and what he's able to do with the talent and in and out. And, so, yeah, I agree 100%. and the offense has sputtered at times, and
Right.
who's at wide receiver, like all that stuff as well. So we aren't our best team over the past Josh
Five,
Allen
six
era
years.
either.
Mhm.
But yeah, we still, if you had to pick, you're picking
No,
the worst team of the Josh Allen era going into the
against
playoffs
the
against
least
nobody
competition.
good,
Yeah. Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah, I agree with you. Now, as we begin to transition to wrap up tonight's episode is presented by Queen City Vintage here on Nickel City Crew. Listen, Queen City Vintage, check out our buddy Nick and Kai. They've got a great storefront there on Elmwood across from 40 Thieves. Check them out. Listen, all of the Buffalo Bills, Buffalo Sabres swag and drip and all that other stuff. Christmas, listen, Christmas right around the corner next Thursday. Get in there quick. Get your stuff, your last minute shopping done. They have got you hooked up over there at Queen City Vintage. They sponsor our giveaways weekly. Check them out. We've got our giveaways coming back for the playoffs. We've been working with them. Listen, they are running a great site. They're running a great storefront. Check out Queen City Vintage. Excuse me. That's Queen_City_Vintage_716 on Instagram. DT. All right. As we begin to wrap up tonight, no surprises. Neither one of us expect any surprises on Sunday. Sunday, 1:00, Bills and Browns. Again, Myles Garrett is really the only interesting thing really about this Cleveland team. He's chasing down Michael Strahan, and I think one of the Watt brothers for the all-time sacks lead. He's got about a sack and a half left before he passes them, and I think that he is going to get it. I don't think he's going to get it necessarily against Josh, but he might get a half a sack or a sack. We'll see. DT, anything crazy that you see coming from this game? I know that we talked a little bit about Shador, but anything. This would be a match. This would be a match. This is one of this be like a Miami loss, correct? This would be the worst
It'd be
loss
way
of the
worse.
season.
It'd be way worse. This would be the worst loss of the season.
Okay, it would be okay. I think that this would be the worst loss of the season for sure. That Miami. Only thing that Miami would supersede it on is because it's a divisional matchup. So I think that this is a game that you cannot afford to look over the opponent. Shout out to Zach. He's right about that. We are not good enough to look over anybody. And I think that if you play well early enough, you can get them disinterested. And then we'll see what happens from there. But don't fall down to the Cleveland Browns 14-0 early on and give them any type of juice. You don't need to give them any type of confidence. They don't need it. Let them just continue to get ready to pack for Cancun. As we begin to wrap up tonight, the Nickel City Crew Tailgate Report, again, presented by Queen City Vintage. DT, I know that you said you are a Christmas enthusiast, and that you love this time of year. For me, I'm the Grinch, but I'm getting there. I already told you guys, Nickel City Crew got my 1-year-old, my baby girl, Ivy. So we've got the tree up. It's literally lit up right now because I lit it up for her last night and I haven't turned it off again. DT, we're in the Christmas spirit here at the Crippen household. We're ready. I've got the gifts. I literally just had to exchange some sneakers for her today from Santa. Santa sent them, so I had to exchange them, get a bigger size, so that way she can actually wear them for a little bit of time. But I mean, everybody is done. The letters to Santa have gone in. We've gotten responses that all the Crippen babies are on the nice list, so that's congratulations to them. Nate barely made it, but he made it. He's on the nice list. That's my child. So they're all on the nice list. And listen, the holidays are a great time of year. We're getting ready for the new basketball season. I told you that Quincy's got his little 6U team, the Thunder, the Northern Regional Rec Center Thunder. We had our last practice last night before the holiday season. Last week went well. Shout out again to Paulette for the lobster tails. Everything went well. We had a great time. I don't know what I'm going to cook this week, DT, because you told me that Cleveland is only known for, I think you said beer and garbage dog food. So I don't know. I'm going to have to Google and ask, Chat GBT or whatever it is to help me out with Cleveland's cuisine. But DT, what is going on there in Buffalo? How is the weather? Are you in the Christmas spirit? Are you done shopping? What's going on, man, up there in the 7-1?
Well, Rob, last week, hit another Christmas parade. I was so pumped about that one. The week before, I had to get back and hit another one. This was a tractor Christmas parade, 67 tractors, 6-7, and they
God,
very nicely, very nicely decorated. Had a good time. Enjoyed it. Game day, Sunday, great tailgate experience on Sunday. Went to obviously my best friends Kai and Paige were down there. Kai's parents, Jeff and Ann, they do game day every week. Jeff, great cook. They do They do a menu item. This week was wings and ribs. So that wasn't
Ooh,
a bad one to stop by for you. You got TVs
yeah.
everywhere. It's good game day atmosphere. They're big Vikings fans. The Vikings had the night game, so we could all focus on. I was trying to get home. The weather was just crazy though down in the southern tier. I couldn't get
Okay.
back over the Buffalo Band, and I didn't want to get stuck on the
Mm-mm.
highway or something and not be able to watch the game. So I made the decision to stay down there. Went to Cheney Road with Jeff and Ann. Shout out to them. Great tailgate setup. It's
Okay.
football. That house is football Sunday. I've been to in the nicer weather. They got the outside TVs going, outside, inside, the whole deal. And Jeff always does it right, man. The ribs were great. The wings
Beautiful.
he did in his new oven air fryer. The wings had a nice dry rub on them.
Okay.
Real good, all the way around. Had a good time over at Cheney Road for game day. Obviously, saw the big comeback, great win. And ended my weekend out there. But Christmas is coming, man. Yeah, shopping not good. Shopping's not good. I'm
You're
usually ahead
behind.
of it, usually, and got a lot to do. So I kind of like it though. I make love to the pressure, Rob. I make love to the pressure. Back against the wall. Back against the wall tomorrow. December
Uh,
20th is going to be a big day for your boy. I'm not going to be messing with anything big. I'm not going into a mall. I
okay.
got my spots. I got a few spots local around me that I know, the nice, like mom and pop shops. So I know they're not going to be overloaded.
Right.
Obviously, going to hit up Queen City Vintage. That's a staple around Christmas
Yeah.
time. Nick hooks it up, and they got really cool stuff. Obviously, all the clothing, but they also got a lot of cool like knickknacks. They got
Trinkets.
ornaments. They
Hmm.
have, they got the necklaces. They got the watches. They got
Stocking
little nice
stuffers, I
like,
think they call them.
yeah, glass sets, a bunch of stickers. Cool stuff there. So definitely be hitting up Queen City Vintage for some shopping. Weather-wise, been your typical Western New York BS,
Yeah.
man. It's
Yeah. I heard about
yesterday
it.
was like 55,
Yeah, I
and the
heard.
sun
Yeah.
was out. And now today
Yeah.
we got like 27, and this wind is just ripping across your face, and the snow's
Yeah.
coming across sideways, and the south
Awesome.
towns are just getting pounded. And
Awesome.
it's we're in it. We're in the winter, baby. It was relatively colder than usual. It usually don't get like these brisk chilling under zero temperatures till your January February's, but it was the beginning part of last week, and then all of a sudden it was 50, and so you can see what that's doing to the ice and the snow, and basements are flooding, and it's wild. But it's in the air, it's here. Got a big week coming up. Got the family, the parents shipped down to Florida, so they'll be
Right.
back in
Right.
town this weekend, and
Okay.
kind
Good.
of have
Good.
activities planned up. We'll be able to see everybody, and
Send my
got the
best to
rundown
'em.
from my mom today of the itinerary and where I need to be and what's going on. So looking forward to that. Don't know what this game entails. I might actually have mom and dad at the batch pad for the game on Sunday when they
There you
fly
go.
in.
There you go.
It's near. It's going to be time where it'll be right around game time. So come over to the batch pad, watch the 1 o'clock. Hopefully it's not too stressful. I can give them the game day experience with the two TVs going, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
like
but
that.
last week, shout out again, Jeff and Ann Anderson. Great tailgate experience, ribs and wings on point.
That's what's up. I like that. Yeah, shout out. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's good, man. Like I said, I had a great time last week. So good luck to you this week with with shopping and stuff. I'm done. Like I said, I'm officially done. I don't have anything else to do. I cannot stand shopping. I do not like stores and malls
Yeah.
and all the other stuff. So I made sure that I blitzed this thing early to make sure that I'm done. So I'm done. Like I said, all the letters to Santa have been returned, and we're good to go, man. All the kids are on the nice list, and they'll be ready to go for Santa next week. So listen, out there, Nickel City Crew, Bills Mafia, have a great week, man. You know what I mean? Just have a great week. Enjoy your family, your friends next week. We will try to come at you guys on next Friday, depending on schedules. It'll either be Friday or Saturday, but we are going to hit you up with an episode. So just stay tuned. I forgot the promo today, but we appreciate the listeners, and you guys are always showing up for us. So we appreciate all of our loyal fans that are out there listening to us. Listen, have fun. Santa is coming to town. Make sure that you're in a good mood. I'm working on myself. I got into an argument this week, and I'm like, you know what? I'm trying not to be the Grinch. I am the Grinch at heart, but I'm going to have the best time possible. This is not my quote unquote Christmas because of the year. So we do it even years, odd years. So I don't have the girls this year, but I'll still see them on Christmas Eve. So I'll be in a good mood. I'll see the boys. I'll be in a good mood, and I'll be ready. it's a lot of hoopla. So make sure that whatever hoopla it is for your family and your house, your household, that you enjoy it for sure, because I know that this is a special time of year, especially for the little ones. So out there, man, have fun, enjoy it, spread love, not hate. These were my Bills thoughts said out loud. Hit him with a Go Bills, DT. Jolly St.
Yep.
Nick, he's coming, man. Hit him with a Go Bills.
Merry Christmas, Nickel City. Merry Christmas, Rob. I can't believe it's already week 16, but happy to be here. Hope you have a great time with the boys and the family and everybody involved. So, Merry Christmas, Nickel City. Let's get after it. 11-4. Go Bills.
I love it. I love it. Merry Christmas. Go Bills.